What if the game itself was rigged, not by players, but by an unseen force shaping narratives? Trevor Bauer, a name whispered in baseball's darkest corners, isn't just a pitcher, he's a question mark hanging over the entire sport. Did he break the game, or merely expose its hidden mechanics, forcing everyone to confront what lies beneath the surface? We're not talking about simple wins and losses here, we're diving into a labyrinth of data, ambition, and an ultimate, terrifying silence. How much power can one man wield with nothing but data and an unyielding will to dominate? Bauer didn't just play the game, he deconstructed it, treating every pitch, every movement, every variable as a solvable equation. While others practiced tradition, Bauer was building a laboratory, not a bullpen. He embraced technology that most pitchers considered arcane, tools like high-speed cameras, biomechanical sensors, and spin rate analysis, long before they became commonplace. He wasn't just throwing a baseball, he was launching a meticulously engineered projectile, optimizing every millisecond of its flight path. He didn't just throw harder, he threw smarter, deciphering the very language of aerodynamics that dictated a baseball's movement. He was a scientist on the mound, constantly experimenting, tweaking, and refining, pushing the boundaries of what a human arm could achieve with the right information. This wasn't about raw talent, it was about an intellectual superiority applied with relentless physical discipline, a combination that unnerved purists and baffled opponents. The question isn't whether he was good, it's whether he was playing a fundamentally different game from everyone else, one where he had access to a secret manual. Was his brilliance a gift or a carefully constructed weapon, forged in the fires of relentless innovation? Bauer meticulously charted the spin axis and efficiency of his pitches using self-developed software and early biomechanical sensors, revealing subtle ball flight properties that most pitchers were unaware of, allowing him to design pitches from the ground up, not just throw them. He wasn't just learning to throw a curveball, he was creating a unique atmospheric disturbance, an invisible force field around the ball that defied conventional hitting. He didn't trust intuition, he trusted data, and that data led him down paths few others dared to tread. His journey wasn't about fitting in, it was about standing out, even if it meant alienating those who preferred the comfort of the familiar. He openly questioned coaching methodologies, challenged conventional wisdom, and pushed against established norms, not out of rebellion, but out of a deep-seated belief in the superiority of empirical evidence. This created an aura around him, a sense that he was always operating on a different plane, privy to secrets others couldn't grasp. The competitive drive wasn't just about winning games, it was about proving a hypothesis, about demonstrating that there was a hidden logic to pitching, waiting to be unlocked. He transformed the pitcher's mound into a battleground of intellect as much as athleticism. How far is too far when the pursuit of perfection becomes an obsession, blurring the lines between innovation and manipulation? Long before spin rate manipulation became a league-wide controversy, Bauer openly experimented with various substances, including pine tar and sunscreen, on his own baseballs in practice, documenting their effect on spin efficiency and velocity, essentially reverse engineering the very sticky stuff problem the league would later grapple with. He wasn't just trying to gain an edge, he was meticulously cataloging the very mechanisms of a legal, and then illegal, advantage. He understood the physics of spin better than most league officials, anticipating the future of performance enhancement long before it became a crisis. This wasn't just about throwing harder or spinning more, it was about controlling the environment, influencing the ball's interaction with the air itself, a microscopic manipulation that yielded macroscopic results. His methods were controversial, his personality often abrasive, but his results were undeniable, culminating in a Cy Young season that showcased pitching mastery on an unprecedented level. He achieved peak performance, not through magic, but through a brutal, unyielding commitment to scientific principles applied to athletic endeavor. His ascent was terrifyingly efficient, a testament to what happens when intellect is unshackled by convention. Was his downfall an inevitable consequence of his radical approach, or was he a casualty of a system unwilling to evolve? The sudden, dramatic suspension that followed his Cy Young season left a gaping wound in his career and a chilling silence in the baseball world. The official narrative was clear, yet the underlying current of unease persisted. Was it merely a legal and ethical judgment, or was there something deeper at play, a silent message sent to anyone daring to challenge the established order too profoundly. The allegations, the ensuing investigations, and the unprecedented length of his suspension raised more questions than answers for many observers. It was a stark reminder of the immense power institutions wield, capable of silencing even the most vocal and dominant figures. The details remained murky, the public discourse polarized, and the absence of Bauer from MLB left a void that no other pitcher could fill in quite the same way. It felt less like a simple consequence and more like a carefully managed excision, removing a disruptive element from the ecosystem. Was he too dangerous, not just for his controversies, but for what he represented, a future where the human element was increasingly augmented, and perhaps even overshadowed, by cold, hard data? What if his banishment wasn't just punishment, but a deliberate act to stem the tide of his influence, an attempt to erase the blueprint he left behind? Even during his exile from MLB, Trevor Bauer continued to innovate, developing advanced pitch design principles and training methodologies in independent leagues and overseas, creating a shadowy blueprint for future pitchers that potentially bypasses traditional scouting and development pathways, an underground revolution happening in plain sight. He wasn't merely playing baseball, he was running a black market academy, disseminating knowledge that could reshape the very foundation of player development, outside the control of the traditional system. His continued output of analytical content, his experiments with new technology, and his public discussions about pitch mechanics ensured that his ideas, even if not his presence, continued to permeate the game. It's as if the physical man was removed, but the intellectual ghost continued to haunt the sport, whispering secrets to the next generation of pitchers. He wasn't just a former star, he was becoming a myth, an almost legendary figure whose methods were both revered and feared. The game moved on, but it couldn't quite forget the path he paved, or the unsettling questions he forced everyone to ask. Who truly benefits when a figure like Bauer is removed from the stage? Is it justice, or is it control, a subtle recalibration of power dynamics? His story forces us to question the nature of truth in an age dominated by curated narratives and social media judgments. Was he truly an unrepentant villain, or a convenient scapegoat, whose very existence threatened the comfortable status quo of a multi-billion-dollar industry? The swiftness of his cancellation, the unwavering solidarity of the league against him, and the near-total public consensus about his unsuitability for MLB felt almost too perfect, too orchestrated. It's as if a pre-written script was being followed, with Bauer playing the role of the ultimate antagonist. The ease with which a once dominant force was rendered irrelevant should send a chill down anyone's spine. It reveals a chilling truth about the fragility of individual agency against the machinery of collective judgment, especially when that judgment is fueled by both moral outrage and economic expediency. The silence that followed his removal was not an absence of sound, but an overwhelming, deafening void, pregnant with unasked questions and unspoken truths. The real question, the one they don't want you to whisper, is this: what if Trevor Bauer, with all his flaws, his brilliance, and his controversial methods, was merely a harbinger of what's to come, a glimpse into a future where human performance is perfected, then policed, then perhaps even purged when it becomes too disruptive? What if his story isn't about one man's actions, but about the terrifying limits placed on ambition, on innovation, and on the very pursuit of an edge, when that edge threatens the equilibrium of power? His fate serves as a stark warning, not just to athletes, but to anyone who dares to push boundaries too far, too fast, too independently. He showed us the future of pitching, then he showed us the future of punishment. The implications stretch far beyond the diamond, touching on cancel culture, the surveillance state, and the quiet, pervasive influence of institutions over individual destiny. We are left to wonder if the pursuit of mastery, when it becomes too absolute, too unyielding, too scientifically precise, inevitably invites a reckoning that has little to do with fair play, and everything to do with control. The game changed, but perhaps not in the way anyone anticipated. What if the silence around Trevor Bauer isn't about what he did, but about what he might still do, a quiet terror that his unseen influence continues to ripple through the very fabric of the game? The true cost of revelation is often paid in isolation.